This is Waiting to Win, proudly brought to you by Betway. It is a midweek racing coming through from KZN. We're racing at Hollywood Bets Gravel, where we're on the poly track. 9-race program, and it must be said, a very competitive and a nice program put together for this Wednesday's meet. We start off with that first of 9 at 11:55. Okay, now don't forget that it is, of course, the 9-race program, which you'll see the bipod starting in race number 2. But as we now look to link to our correspondent for this afternoon's meeting, it is looking at the favoritism, and that's with the 8 Jet Lavish, and that's at 16-10. Very tight at the top with the 1, Nautical Landing, that is at 19-10. Now looking at others with chances, the 5, Her Royalty, is at 21-10, so just tells you the competitive nature of race number 1. But that is race 1, which we are not going to be touching on too much. We're going to race 2, a Tab Gold, a score 6, a score 8, a maiden plate. It's over the 1,600 meters, and it's off at 12:30. And it's now time to welcome our analyst for today. Is none other than Gary John. Gary John, a very good morning to you as we look ahead to a 11:55 start to the first of 9.
Good morning, Cesar, and good morning to the punters out there. I hope everyone's doing well from the weekend.
Yes, indeed. I think it was actually a very good weekend. Surprising that Pick 6 ended up paying 194,000. Rachel Finneker being the dominant force. I thought she was going to ride the jackpot until she had a bit of an injury in race number 7. But I think your selection, Hot Strike, was a very good selection, and it won accordingly. Now let's talk about race number 2. First leg of the bipod. Let's get straight into your selections, Gary John.
Cecil, when I looked at race 2, for my bipods, I had to lean towards number 3, Always Shining. It's ultra consistent. It does run nicely on the poly. I have healthy respect for number 6, Deputy Chief. I think it's an improver. The horse that beat it last time, Deception Pass, came out to win well in Joburg. So I lent to those 2 horses. I'm not too sure if the Octagon's going to take to the poly, but I think 3 and 6 should get you through this leg.
All right, 3 and 6, and that is an outlay of 36 Rand, 36 Rand, and it's an off time to race number 2 up at 12:30. The start of the bipod on a 9-race program. Okay, so we get into the competitive side of things at Hollywood Bets Gravel, where we're racing on the poly, and a very nice field for a conditional graduation over the 1,700 meters will be the start of the PA at 1:05. And early betting indicators have the very consistent number 3, Spelling Bee, from the Canamere stable at 22-10. Number 4, Down by the River. That's at 15-4. Also 15-4 is the 1, Officer in a Command. 4-1 is the 6, Captain Casey. And then you're looking at 11-2 and a better bar those. Well, I see there's a banker. I had a sneak preview of your perm for that place accumulator, Gary John. And I must say it is, of course, either in or out with Spelling Bee. Certainly very consistent. Back on the poly. In fact, the first time poly is a big worry. But up against some hard knockers here who certainly know the poly well.
Yes, Cecil. Today I made my best bet, Spelling Bee. Yes, the only question mark is the poly. I don't see it being a problem. I also, if you look at the previous form with Officer at Command and Spelling Bee, there wasn't much in it that day, but it was 1,400 meters, and Spelling Bee was coming off a rest, and it also had to give Officer at Command 3.5 kilos that day. When I watched the replay, it looked like Spelling Bee did have the upper hand, and it was too short for it. Now today, it only has to give Officer in Command 1 kilo. So I really think Spelling Bee should have the beating of this field if it takes to the poly. I think its form line is strong enough. I do see the danger as number 1, Officer in Command, but I'm definitely going to be having a bet on Spelling Bee.
Okay, once again, a 36 Rand a perm. Spelling Bee is a banker in that first leg. We also have a bank in leg 2, and that is number 2, Zinekele. And then at the penultimate leg of the PA race number 8, the 4 is a banker, and that is Master Bling. 36 Rand is the outlay to that PA. All right, so the Highveld season is well underway. We had the spring spree as the start of the Betway season, and that ends, of course, at the end of November with the running of the Summer Cup. And, of course, the promos are everywhere. You can't miss them. It is the start of the PSL as of the 14th of September, the Betway PSL. It is branded, and they had the launch recently. I happened to catch the launch on one of the channels, so we're looking forward to that. And, of course, we're heading to the first international break as far as the EPL is concerned. So no soccer to talk about as far as domestic soccer is concerned. Right, as far as race number 4 is concerned, this is the first leg of the Pick 6 at Hollywood Bets at Greyville. And we've got the 8 Perila, who was supported early in the antipost, is now 22-10. You've got the 2 Zinikele, you would have seen that as a banker in the PA. That is number 2 in the colors of the Hollywood. That is at 7-2. You've got 28-10, in fact. A little shorter is Little Black Velvet. And then you got the 3 Miss Paget at 13-5. I could go on. 6 Red Roses 2 is a scratching Gary Jones. 7 runners to face up for that first leg of the Pick 6. And I see you've decided to err on the side of caution and back up your banker, the 2.
Yes, Cecil. I made this between 2 horses, Zinekele and Perilla. I had to lean towards Zinekele because it's a course and distance specialist. I think it's had 10 runs on the poly for 5 wins, which is a 50% strike rate. This horse is definitely a better horse on the poly. I had to lean towards it over Perilla because Perilla hasn't tried the poly. But at the same time, Perilla has run behind really, really good horses. So I do have respect for it. Also, the draw 8 was a small question mark to me, but over here, it wouldn't surprise me to see Zinekele win it.
All right, so let's just confirm something here, Mr. Gary John. We've got Gavin Larena once again, not riding this afternoon, as was the case of the Vol yesterday. And in race number 1, the 8 Jet Lavish Muzieni. In race 3, number 6, Captain Casey. I quite like that. Mr. Smanga Kumalo, nothing in race number 4. And we'll give you the rest of those changes as we go on. 1,440 Rand is the permutation, and it is in or out in that 5th leg with the 4. Once again, a banker, and I do know that Gary John is very keen on the chances of Master Bling. All right, so we're getting into the first jackpot, race number 5. A reminder that the 7 Green Valkyrie, or at least you may have not have seen it, but this is confirmation Green Valkyrie. Deputizing for the medically indisposed Mr. Gavin Larena will be informer Sean Veal on the Kumran Naidu Green Valkyrie. Now, as far as the favoritism is concerned, it is 3-1 about the Mike Miller charge. That is Magical View. And then it's 33-10 about the 1 Vernian Goddess from the stable of Dean Cannemare. And then 5-1, you can get about 10 Miss Liana, who's recently made the switch from the Puller stable to the stable of Paul Gatsby. It'll be a first run for the Paul Gatsby stable. And then the 7 Green Valkyrie, to confirm Sean Veal aboard, is at 6-1. Now, Gary John, just to think on this between now and the next preview, we're going to ask you to put together 8 winners from race 2 to race number 9. And there is that million challenge, million jackpot, as they call it, on the Betway app. And you just have to find 7 winners plus 1 that you think can place from the last 8 races. I'm sure for a man who's so bullish today, it should be easy for you. But let's talk about race number 5, Sean Veal on the 7. And I actually had overlooked one, the 6 Beautiful Rania. That is at 9-2 Swanga Kumalo for the Danish Posh stable in the colors of Mr. Solibana.
Yes, Cecil. Over here, I used rule of elimination. I see Magical View does have Beautiful Rania held, but on the grass at Greyville, it was Beautiful Rania's first run. But I had to lean towards Magical View over it. I really enjoyed its last run, the way it came from off them. It was flying at Ukubela Bazana, which is also a line horse for Arvinian Goddess, because Arvinian Goddess has run behind it twice. In its first run in the poly to Pilot Flame, Ukubela Bazana was in there, and Arvinian Goddess was very, very unlucky not to win that race. It should have definitely won it, in my opinion. Obviously, further down the line, Ukubela Bazana beat Arvinian Goddess on the grass, though. That day, there wasn't much in it. I do feel Arvinian Goddess is a better poly horse, which I have respect for. Even though it never beat much last time out, it still ended up winning well. And I still feel the 1200 was a bit too short for it. I also really like that run to Spirit of Lavana. There have been plenty of winners out that form line. Just speaking, Pearl in a crowd come out to win in Joburg. RC Lancaster, Safari Lodge, even the horse that ran last in Lady Elmo come out to win. So I wouldn't, I made it obviously between numbers 1 and 5. Yeah, I found it very hard to separate it, but I had to lean to the 1 because it has been on the surface before. But I found it very hard to choose between these two. I think 1 and 5 should definitely get you through. Also, just touching on Magical View, its first run was to Quid Pro Quo. I have healthy respect for it. And also, its last run to Ukubela Bazana, 2 winners out the form line, Emerald Green and Raga Lover. So it did beat older horses that day. So I think 1 and 5 yeah, should definitely get you through.
Thank you very much. You've gone the 1, 3, 5, 6, 7 in that first leg of the jackpot. We'll talk about the second leg, race number 6, and also the start of jackpot 2. All right, so just to confirm that it is Sean Veal now deputizing for Mr. Gavin Larina in race number 6 on number 6, and that is Porfirio from the Kumaran Naidu stable. We've got an important scratching that's come through the 1 Bally Magic. Now, that's seen an adjustment to the betting because Bally Magic would have been up there in the higher echelons of the betting at around 9-2. So you've got Mr. Nibbles now, your favorite at 28-10. The 3 Irish Luck is at 3-1. 3-1 about the 6 Porfirio. 5-1 about the 4 Night Warrior. 8 a move to prove 17-2. Now support. This is support rather than adjustment. The 7-1 Irish Rover 18-1 into 12-1, and also 12-1 is the 9 Aldrak. Right, a field of a 9 and now to face up for this following the box seat broadcast merit weight at 70 handicap. It's over the 1400 meters, and how do you see this? I see in the second leg of jackpot 1, you've got the field there.
Cecil, in this leg, I've gone field in my pick 6 and jackpot. I found it a very, very open race. Just obviously looking after the scratching Bally Magic, I'm not surprised that 1 Irish Rover, the money's come for it or will come for it, because it has run just behind Bally Magic, and I think it's beaten it once, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, at that price, I do see a lot of value in it. And also, another horse, just to touch on number 10, a few dollars more. I know it's dropping in trip, but I mean, its previous polyform is not bad at all. But once again, yeah, a very, very hard race. Also, if I was to give, my first choice would be Irish Luck on form. So, but still, it's a very, very tough race. I give every single horse a chance. I'll be looking for the results here.
All right, so that is the sixth race and a very open race, and he's just touched on the 10 few dollars more. Well named, it is out of the Sire Raw Mo, out of the mare Westerns, out of the Western. It's a Western Winter mare in race number 6. All right, so we get to race number 7 now. Of course, it is international break overseas, but that doesn't stop you from trying to make some money on the soccer. Plenty of internationals on the go in the interim until we get back to league action. So do get stuck in. Go onto that Betway app, and you should be able to get some very, very good value indeed. Now, talking about race number 7. Race number 7 is another very, very competitive race with some very nice sorts. Hard Knockers, merit rated 96, and the current favorite in race number 7 is the 7 Proud Knocker from the Stu Ferry stable. That's been adjusted into 7-2. Sean Veal gets a ride, and this is your proverbial course and distance specialist. 8 runs for 5 wins and a third. The 1 Coin Spinner, 15-4 again. There has been a nibble. 5-1 is the 6 African Skyline. The 9 Diani, 11-2 is 7s and better about those. Just talking about African Skyline, the last run that African Skyline participated in, coming off a break, was in fact in the same race as the highly regarded Strathclyde, who finished second, while African Skyline finished third, 4.10 lengths. Right, tell us, the Smorgasbord is now in Durban, much travelled as Smorgasbord, with the Hurston stable. Is that part of your selections?
Cecil, I left it out my selections, but I do give it a chance. That 1 run to Cruise Control on the Poly was a great run. If I'm not mistaken, Cruise Control is unbeaten on the Poly in PE. So it should definitely go into bets, but I just thought it might not be in this class. When I looked at this race, I gave this horse Copperwela a small chance. Obviously, if it takes to the poly, I'm not 100% sure. It's also coming off a rest, but it's got really nice form, and I've seen this horse before in live. It looks an absolute picture. My first choice here, my clear first choice is African Skyline. Most of its wins have come on the poly. Obviously, its last run, it obviously just needed it, and it ran a really good race. Strathclyde came out to run a cracker afterwards. But also going back to the 1200 meter run to Magic Tattoo, it beats Queen Spinner that day, and it beat it quite easily. So I had to lean towards African Skyline. I really like the jockey on it, and the stable are having their winners, and it's ticking along. I do also have respect for Proud Master. It's very consistent on the poly, but I had to lean towards African Skyline. Yeah, I really think it's going to get it right today.
All right, so 5, 6, and 7, Kupoliwe, African Skyline, and Proud Master make up that exacta box selection from Gary John. That is race 7, a last chance to get involved in a pick 3, and that's off at 15:25. All right, so we got a scratching in race number 8, and that is the very consistent number 5, Hippocrates. That will be a non at this afternoon. Stu Ferry's charge is out. So that leaves us the field off at 10. And in the betting, it's the 4 Master Bling at 11-4, the 10 Lulu the Legend 7-2, 11-2 the 1 Space Cowboy. It is 6-1 about the 3 Paka Imali. The 2, that is Brave Voyagers at 7-1. It's 15-2 and better bar those. I do know the 15-2 selection is the value selection in a computer form for our man Jermaine Maharaj. That is the 6 Brass Bell. Now, if the 4 should come through and win for us, Gary John, we will all be buying a lot of bling. After all that, your permutations should be in a good stead.
Yes, Cecil. I took my stand here. Just speaking on Master Bling, I was really, really impressed the way it won last time. It's up against pretty much the same company, in my opinion. If it repeats that last round, it will definitely win. Once again, I like the jockey and trainer combination. And funny enough, I made 2 dangers. Brass Bell, which has beaten it before, but I'm willing to think Master Bling has improved after that. And another horse just to touch on, I know Master Bling has it held as another day in Africa. It's carrying no weight. I also saw the jockey had a win the other day. This horse here could be the diamond in the rough, the one that can come to beat us. But I had to lean towards Master Bling. It's got the draw, everything. Obviously, the extra 200 meters, I'm not too worried about. I was very impressed last time. I feel like I could have won by further.
Yeah, the kid won in the last race on Connery, who was having a first run out of the maidens and a first run in the province, and that saw put paid to our pick 6s on Sunday, but well done to him. That's on the 9, another day in Africa for the Natty Cotton stable. Master Bling is the 4, and that's where all eyes will be on in race 8. All right, so it is rapidly coming to an end with our preview for Hollywood Bets Grable, where it is the competitive 9-race program, which will end with that 9th, and that's off at 16:35 with the running of Hollywood Bets of Brighter Future Fillies and Mares 64. It will be over the 1200 meters, and just to confirm the last change for Mr. Gavin Arena, it will be deputizing for Gavin, Serena Moodley on the 9, Pretty Onalia, who will be having a first runner for the Bar and Bortas stable, number 9. Pretty Onalia. Now, as far as the betting for that finale, it is no scratchings in the last, and the betting has the let's just get to that 9th. My apologies, Gary John. But the early betting had the favoritism and a very open-looking race with number 3, Prankster. That was at 9, in fact 8. 9-2, then 5-1 about the 3 Prankster, and then 11-2 about the 4 Beaded Gown. So a very open-looking race. How did you navigate the 9th, or how do you think we'll navigate the 9th?
Cecil, over here, I made my value bet today drive-by. I'd obviously like to see our Master Bling goes earlier. If it wins, this horse is definitely going to shorten on form. I watched the replay of its last run. It was so unlucky. It could have easily finished 3rd in that field. Definitely 3 lengths ahead of what it did finish. Going up to the 1200, I think it's absolutely perfect. When I go back to the run on on the 26th of June when it beat Flying the Star. Pantia was in there, Swiss Paradise was in there. The way it won by 2.5 lengths, it could have won by about 6 lengths that day. It won very easy. Also, just touching on Beaded Gown and Swiss Paradise, I have a question mark for the 1200 meters for these horses. I also feel that they're going to go very hard up front, which will suit Drive By from draw 10. But just touching on Pretty Analia, it's also got a chance dropping in trip. Should definitely go into bets. But yeah, I'm very strong on Drive By. I think it should definitely be in the top 3. It's beaten most of the fancied runners over here, and it's beaten them well. So I've actually banked and Drive By in my second jackpot. I've taken a big chance.
All right, so that is Drive By, to be partnered once again by Chase Mojon, who's ridden the horse on 14 previous occasions for 1 win and 6 places. Just to confirm the betting, 8 Swiss Paradise, 9 to 2, 5 to 1, the 3 pranks, and then we come down to the 9 Pretty Analia. That's actually been shortened in from 13 to 2 into 6 to 1, and also Nibble at the 10 Drive By, now at 13 to 2.